Let me show you how Soothe 2 can save your mixes. To help you comprehend the power of this plugin, let me explain to you how it works. So Soothe 2 is a dynamic resonance suppressor. This pretty much means it finds resonance within your audio track and suppresses it down. This means that if you spend hours working on a song and you start mixing to find out that your vocal tracks have distortion or muffliness, there's a way to actually save it. Now, before I show you how it works, I should mention that it's a pretty pricey plugin. It costs around $200, but in my opinion, the value I've gotten out of Soothe 2, it's well worth it. So I'm gonna break down how each component works, then I'm gonna show you how it sounds on a muffled recording and go over another super useful tip in using Soothe 2 to get clear and present vocals, so you definitely do wanna stay till the end. So I'm not like a lot of the other audio engineering channels that you may see on YouTube. With these explanations, I like things to be very straight to the point. So Soothe 2, how I want you to think of it like is a multi-band compressor more than anything. The adjustments that we make here are very similar to like how we would do in a multi-band compressor, and what Soothe 2 is doing to our vocals is kind of similar to a multi-band compressor as well. So over here you see this depth knob. This just controls the processing power of this plugin. So as you can see up here, just like how we have in any compressor, we have the two options for soft and hard. These pretty much just control the different types of processing that we want applied to whatever audio signal we're using Soothe for. So for instance, if I choose soft, I'm gonna get a lot more soft type processing. It's gonna sound a lot smoother, and if I use harder, it's gonna be a bit more aggressive and punchy as far as processing power. So really nice to use. Over here we have attack times and release times, very similar to like how we use on a compressor again. How quickly the Soothe 2 starts to pick up the processing for the beginning of any type of audio signal, and release is the exact opposite. So over here we have sharpness and we have selectivity. Sharpness controls the individual notches, just like how they say up here. They say it's very similar to like the Q on a EQ, or like the bandwidth or whatever you want to call it. Selectivity pretty much just controls how selective the processing is going to be for the Soothe 2. And over here, right here, we have sensitivity. This little knob right here controls sensitivity, and the more you bring it up, the more processing you'll get down here for this specific frequency range. And that is pretty much all you need to know. Very simple. Only thing I did was two things. Over here in the high mid area, I gave it a little boost for my sensitivity, and over here in the low mid area at about 450 hertz, I added another smaller boost because I was getting a lot of crazy artifacts from down here. And as far as when you use Soothe 2 on your vocal bus or your main vocals, you normally always want to have it around this area because it will normally sound best whenever you put it right here. If you're going to use any of these notches over here, one at least needs to go right here for it to sound as best as it possibly can when you're using it on your vocal bus. So I chose soft up here for the Soothe 2, the knee on the Soothe 2, mainly just because I wanted more gradual processing. I didn't really need anything too aggressive on this specific Soothe, mainly just because I was looking to take away a little bit of the unwanted artifacts I was getting, and that was pretty much it. Over here for the depth, 3.0 depth is pretty normal for Soothe 2. That's like the average depth that this is actually, I think this is like the factory setting depth. I added a little bit of sharpness, a tiny bit of selectivity, and that was pretty much it. That's all I've done, and I got it to sound pretty good. I've been using Soothe 2 for about a year now, and after working with it for a minute, I can actually say, like, at first I didn't think it was doing that much for me, and then I had some songs where the recordings were kind of muffled, and I listened to them with Soothe 2 on there, and I was like, hold on, this is actually amazing. So let me show you how this sounds with versus without Soothe 2.
Hush and breathe. I don't ever want to make you feel like you should run from me. And hush and breathe. I don't ever want to make you feel like you should run from me. And the person I'm becoming, I just can't believe. But I don't ever want to make you feel like you should run from me. Don't run.
So yeah, like whenever I turn on the Soothe 2, everything just sounds a bit more smoother and direct, a little bit more in your face versus without it. So that's why I really like using it on the vocal bus. Now, the second thing a lot of people like to use Soothe 2 for is for a special method called vocal ducking, which will actually duck the instruments behind your voice, which will allow your vocals to be more present and clear in the mix. Well, it'll at least give the audience of whoever's listening to your song that perception of your music. So it's really nice to use. How you're gonna set this up, you actually need to do a side chain of your vocals. So how you're gonna do that, you need to make a whole separate copy of all the vocals that you want in the side chain. So I'm gonna show you how to do it. All you need to do if you wanted to set this vocal decking situation up is highlight all this information right here. Highlight every single last bit of information you have in here. And what you want to do, you want to come to all your buses in the mixer and you want to mute all the special effect plugins on all of your buses. So for instance, you want to mute all the special effect plugins except for the compressor type plugins, as well as the frequency balancing plugins. So in this case, equalizer, the compressors, and the de-esser stay on, and everything else gets turned off. So in this case, I'm just going to turn that off. You turn everything over here off. You come over to the background bus. You turn everything over here off as well, if you've already done that. If you already have stuff on the master, turn all that stuff off as well. You want to come over here and you want to, if you're on a Mac, you would do Command Option C and you'll get this little page to pop up. All you would need to do is press start. Once you hit that, it'll render out a consolidated copy of all of this stuff down here, which will show up like this. And after this shows up, what you need to do is click on this. Once you click on this, you'll have to route this to its own separate insert where there's nothing in. So it needs to be totally out of any of the buses that you have in your mixer in its own separate insert. So now we have this signal track. This is now our signal track, the one that we just made a render for. Now, next thing we need to do, since we just made that signal track, come over here to track 41. This is now our signal track. Let's name it signal. And you want to route this to your beat and actually sidechain it. You should hit sidechain to this track only. And once you come to this sidechain button right here, you want to open up Soothe 2 on your instrumental track or the bus for your instrumental tracks. And you want to come over here up top, come up here up top to processing, sidechain input, signal. You want to hit that. Last things last. You want to hit this sidechain button right here, and you've just successfully set up a sidechain for vocal ducking, and it's very simple. I'm going to show you how it actually sounds with this vocal ducking sequence because it sounds so much nicer using Soothe 2 vocal ducking versus without it. It's so nice, so helpful for so many different types of situations.
Hush and breathe. I don't ever wanna make you feel like you should run from me. And the person I'm becoming, I just can't believe. But I don't ever wanna make you feel like you should run from me. Don't run from me. Intermission, how we moving forward for these bad decisions. Take me back by 4 years, I fucking miss it. Take me back by 6 years, I fucking miss it. That's why I tell myself, time and time and time again, go the place you wanna go, see the things you wanna see, be the man you.
But all right, everyone, that is how I implement Soothe 2 into my mixes to make everything just sound 10 times better. Now, if you're a beginner wondering how to mix your vocals with strictly stock VSTs inside FL Studio, hit the link in my description. I'll give you a detailed step-by-step guide on how to do just that. But all right, everyone, I hope you got a lot of value out of this video. I'll catch you all in the next one.